And we're back, guys. Tennis in a minute. I'm your host, Good Energy. How's everyone doing? And we have the semifinals. Four ladies remaining. Who will make the championship match? Now, I posted the odds in the community, so go take a look and let me know what you think there. But let's get right into it. We have two besties. Vamos! Paula Badosa taking on her bestie, Arena Sabalenka. Hits hard. Boy, does she scare me. It's going to be a good match. You guys ready for this? Now, these two ladies have played a ton of times, right? If we're going to count the World Tennis League, they've faced each other 7 times, right? Overall, on the main tour, they've played 6 times. They played once at the Masters, and I think this is probably, until now, the best we've seen Badosa, where if we go back to the 21 season, in Mexico, Badosa won that 6-4, 6-love. And Sabalenka was on the brink of elimination. She had that amazing match with Zachary, who I think, by the way, this is a make or break year for Zachary. She's not doing well. I don't know, but she's got to find a way to get Tom Hill back. I don't know. I feel for her. Like she said, she's no spring chicken anymore. She's getting older. And when you get older, it's not easy to change your game. You could do it when you're young. We've seen Iga add new elements to her game. We've seen Coco with the grip, which a lot of people thought that was just impossible to do. Serena said she probably shouldn't change it. It could get worse. A lot of experts I've heard have said about Coco's forehand, look, don't change it. Just be comfortable. Just play with confidence. She's changed it. Iga's changed a lot of things about her game. And Zachary, I don't. She's gonna have to do something. I'm concerned with her, but there's like I'm also really concerned about Elena Rybakina, or should I say Rybakina? It's just hilarious. I'm concerned with Elena. I really am. Now that I feel a little bit better that Stefanos is coming back in her corner, because like I've said, he's a good coach. He's passionate. Anytime your player is telling you to shut up or be quiet, that's a coach that cares. He really cares about his player. And when I watch him in her corner coaching her, he is really involved in the match. He's watching the action. He's analyzing. He's really taking the game in and giving her the tools she needs to win. That's what a good coach does. And he just the way he's involved with his player on the court, I think he earns his money. So look, it was I made the video when she parted ways with him. I said that's not good. That is not good for her career. And I think she listened. She listened, and he's back, and she felt it. Her game has, even though you could bring on a Hall of Fame coach, you could bring on Goran, you could bring on Wim, Patrick, any of these great coaches, but if it's not a good fit, it's not a good fit. And I think she's back and she realized that. But I'm glad Badosa's back. She's in her best form, like I said, since the 21 season, where she won her first main tour titles. And she literally came from nearly ranked 100 inside the top 10. So the sad thing is that's the last time she's beat Sabalenka. She beat her the first 2 times they played. She hasn't beat her since. She hasn't beat Sabalenka in 4 years, right? So let's look at the most recent matchup. I'm not going to look at the World Tennis League where Badosa Sabalenka won 6-2. That was last month. But how about the French Open on clay, right? This past year, breadstick in the second set, 7-5 in the first set. Germany, Stuttgart, 3-set. Paula Badosa had to retire. Didn't look good. But what about Miami? Even though going through all the things Sabalenka was going through, still a straight set victory. The problem with this matchup, I feel, with Sabalenka is she puts that pressure on Paula Badosa that she can't handle. Right, the +1 wide serve, just a fast forehand. It speeds her up. And I think Caroline said it best. Playing against Paula Badosa so many times and practicing with her, I can tell, I see that she's uncomfortable when you pressure her. When you continue to get balls, bring her to deep rallies, she's uncomfortable. And watching her play, I've said this, her stamina is not good. She gets tired. So I feel a lot of it's just physical, right? If your physical is not there, you're going to break down mentally. If mentally is not there, If your mental breaks down, sometimes your physical attributes can keep you in a match, right? You know, if you're running marathons, right? And mentally you're not there, but if your body's able to hold up, you can go. You can push through, you could find a way to get to that place to get you through as long as your body doesn't break down. But if your body breaks down, that's an even tougher uphill battle mentally, right? Because if your body can't go, a lot of times there's not much more you can do. And I feel with Paula Badosa, a lot of times it's stamina related first because she gets tired. And I just felt that was the issue with Coco. Like, they have to know, if you're paying these coaches all this money, they have to know this stuff. I know just from watching the players play all the time. Paula Badosa's stamina is not good. It's not good. It's never been good. She gets tired and exhausted. Now, I did say I do think she's in the best condition I've seen her in a long time. But watching Coco in that second set, Paula Badosa was exhausted, and you have to pick up on this. And when there's coaching allowed this year, coaches have to make her aware, Coco, she's tired. The longer rally, speed her up, play faster. Stop trying to get into a forehand duel. It's like you pay your coaches to tell you this stuff. And this is why Stefanos back with Rebecca is good for her, because he's one of the few coaches that's on top of it. He's really on top of this stuff. Like, get your notepad, whatever you need to do, take notes, watch these matches. And some coaches, look, and this is where I get into like Richard with Serena and Venus. Now, he didn't play the game. He didn't grow up playing tennis. He never played tennis. But he's one of the best coaches of all time. Why? Because a lot of people analyze things. If you're very analytical and just playing sports or being an athlete in general, it doesn't matter what sport you're in. If you have that competitive knack, if you have that just competitive, analytical, mental spirit, then you can excel in any sport because you can see the tendencies of opponents, right? You have that natural competitive instinct that can get you through matches, and you pick your intuition, you pick up on players, these tendencies, these bad habits, you can see them and spot them and game plan against them. And I feel Stefanos is good with that. And Coco's coaching staff, they've done an excellent job, so I don't want to knock them, but you in a big match like that, again, another opportunity miss for another slam. And I feel Sabalenka, she pressures Badosa to where she's just not comfortable. Now, last time out against Anastasia, 3 aces, she won 65% of her first serves. She did struggle on the second serve. And she gave Anastasia 8 opportunities to break her. Guys, we got to be just straight up. Anastasia is a good player, but she's a little too old. And I did tell you, before I did the prediction video, I told you guys that I would look at considering Anastasia because she's playing good on that upset alert. She did win a set. Paula Badosa, I think, is playing better than Anastasia. I think she's played the tougher competition. And I think at her age, Paula Badosa is a better tennis player than Anastasia Pavlyuchenkova, right? That's my personal opinion. Right now, this very moment, Paula Badosa is playing better tennis. If Anastasia can win a set, I think Badosa can win a set and possibly finally upset Sabalenka in 4 years. Now, if we take a look at the match with Coco, I know I just talked about Coco a little bit, but we're going to go back to that because that's a very important match in shaping this draw. We wanted to see the Coco-Sabalenka matchup, I feel, on the big stage again. Back, like, this is that vintage ESPN classic type of match that you watch on a rainy day in the house. Sabalenka, Coco Gauff, they played each other in the 24 semifinal Australian Open. Here they are again, the rematch. The stage is set. Can Coco get revenge? And then imagine Coco goes on and wins the Australian Open against Iga. That's how you build that ESPN classic. I watched Venus and Serena, these ESPN classic matches and title runs they had, and they're freaking amazing to watch on a rainy day. But again, important match. Paula Badosa ruined that. And listen, guys, she played an amazing match. Let's just be honest. I don't think she necessarily had to do anything different from what she did to get there because Coco played into her hands. But nonetheless, she took care of business. She made the shot she needed to make. She only won 64% of her first serves. That's not really a number that beats Coco, right? But Coco beat herself, guys. 41 unforced errors. Paula Badosa had 23. I feel in a match against Sabalenka, she could beat Sabalenka with about 20 unforced errors. But she's got to have more winners, right? 15 winners is not going to beat Sabalenka. It beat Coco. Even though Coco had twice as many winners, the unforced errors really ruined Coco. And even still, guys, Coco doesn't go down without a fight, right? Doesn't go down without a fight. Not at all. Now, Paula Badosa, guys, I do feel she's going to need more winners. She's going to have to blast a forehand. She's going to have to play aggressive. 3 aces, I don't think is going to get it done. Definitely not 2 double faults. I think for Paula Badosa to win this match, Paula Badosa is going to need at least 6 aces. She's going to have to win a service game without Sabalenka even touching the ball. She's going to reduce the double faults. But I think that first serve win percentage, she's got to be elite. Elite players on tour are winning 75% plus of their first serves. 75% is that magic number for Paula Badosa. And the winner count, she's going to need at least 30 winners to beat Sabalenka. 20 errors, I think she can live with that because Sabalenka is going to make a lot of unforced errors herself. Right, I always talk about how she's going to put up 30 unforced errors. She had 27 against Anastasia. I think if she puts up 27 around 30, Paula Badosa has a chance to steal this match. In terms of this overall schedule, I do think Paula Badosa, I like who she's beat, guys. Look, Gibson, very young, solid player. Marta Kashuk, fast, very strong, comes forward. And Coco. Coco's the big match there. Towson, she played some tough competitors. Sloane, this is not the Sloane. Even though Sloane has challenged Sabalenka in the past, it's not the Sloane we're used to seeing. She doesn't move. She's too stationary. Sabalenka's a lot more agile than Sloane Stephens. But let's not forget, she did beat some tough competition in Brisbane. Kudermetova, Buskova, Putintseva. And I do feel the match against Towson, a hard hitter, but again, very stationary, doesn't move, doesn't defend, mentally weak. Good win in terms of ball striking, but Paula Badosa is going to move a little bit more. The match against Mirandreva, Mira moves, he's left-handed. Paula Badosa is left-handed, but also plays with the right. But again, doesn't have the pattern play to beat someone like Sabalenka, right? Mirandreva loves to go down the line, while Sabalenka is going to stretch you to make that really tough to do. Anastasia, a good solid win, heavy ball striker, but again, doesn't have the movement. And let's just be honest, she's getting old, right? She's getting old, and that's just my fair criticism, and it's true, right? Paula Badosa is playing solid tennis. I felt that win against Coco was a confidence booster. Everyone has thought the Coco would win this. I did see the numerology. I knew Coco wasn't going to win it, guys, but I don't want to hurt people's feelings and disappoint them. The numerology told me what's going to happen. I can see what's going to happen. The draw, the cherry picking in the draw, the court. And I say it all the time, guys, these courts, look, there's a lot goes on behind the scene. This is not playing like a hard court. There's a lot of manufacturing nowadays. And I think it's hurting the game. But in terms of star power, Coco's such a big star. It doesn't matter if she wins a slam or not. She doesn't have to win a slam. She's that big of the star. She's that big of a star, and people are going to show up to see her and support her. She's going to sign deals regardless or not. I do feel the tour takes off to another level when she reaches number 1. But even with that said, it doesn't matter because Coco's such a rock star, So in other people's opinions, I think, for the tour to get stronger, they need other people to be more, I say more recognizable in terms of wins, their face in front of the camera, definitely not having any bad PR stories that's hurting the game or ruining the image of the game. And I just feel Coco's going to continue to get tough draws. She's going to be just in these positions to where it just doesn't matter because her star power is so big, while strengthening the other ladies on tour to help kind of promote a solid stardom type of product that you can give to players globally all over the world. Whereas Coco's fine on her own. Whether Coco wins or loses doesn't matter. She's so big of a rock star. People just want to see her play. So I feel having a semifinal with Coco not in it, it doesn't really hurt the sport because you're promoting new faces, and that's why Coco's going to continue to have these tough draws. Why I feel Sabalenka's draw last year was cherry pick. It's unacceptable. Iga's draw this year, it's ridiculous. Her average strength of schedule through the quarterfinals 71. I think it's ridiculous. And when we're talking about draws, they do whatever they want. They're not making these draws, in terms of rank to seeding. No, they're doing whatever they want, especially outside the top 10. It's off 1 or 2, 3 spots here or there. But outside of the seeded players, they put anyone wherever they want. And you got to make the draws more competitive. But then again, back to my point, Coco's such a rock star that, they want her to have the tougher matches because people tune in to see it. While you have other players that haven't really had tougher schedules are winning these slams and now being promoted. And I don't know if they're really that good, especially now. But nonetheless, this matchup here, guys, I'm going to go with Paula Badosa in the first set. I'm going to take Paula Badosa plus 2.5 games. If Anastasia can win service games over Sabalenka, I think in the biggest stage of her career, Paula Badosa has never made a slam semifinal. This is going to be a match she gets up for. And I do think the forehand's going to be there. Go away from Sabalenka. She comes into you, that right down the line, I think it's going to be there for Paula Badosa to hit winners. I think for some of these service games and points, it's just going to be clear keep away where she's just going away from Sabalenka and she is hitting these winners. I think so. So I'll take the plus 2.5 games. Sabalenka is what, a 3.5 to 1 favorite. I'll take Paula Badosa plus 2.5 games in the first set. She could win the first set outright, but she's going to have to win 4 service games. So we'll see if she can do that. I think she'll start good. Iga! Big bad Iga! Yes, taking on Maddie Patty. I talked about the strength of schedule, guys. Madison Keys through the quarterfinal or up to the quarterfinal. Strength of schedule, 55. Average rank for Iga Swiatek, 71. I mean, look, the court conditions are when players are saying these courts are playing like clay courts, much like Medvedev at the Indian Wells a couple years ago. It's like, this is not hard court. What is this? That's how these courts are. These players with amazing athletic ability weren't able to showcase that. Now, Madison Keys is in great form. She's in great condition. She's in great shape. But she goes deep in the Australian Open. This is her 5th time making a semifinal in a Grand Slam. She did it actually, she did it here actually 10 years ago. So she's been here before. But I always say, when you get older in your 20s, your 30s, the only thing that's going to keep you relevant on the WTA is power. But when Madison Keys is going this deep in a draw at her age, these courts are playing slow. They're playing slow. And I love Madison Keys, but these courts are playing slow. We got Svitolina, Madison Keys. These courts are playing slow, okay? All these young athletic ladies, they're not here in the semifinal. We have Paula Badosa. Sabalenka's a given. Iga loves clay. That's her favorite surface. And she's talked about the conditions here in Australia just being so brutal. These courts are horrible. And the conditions are horrible. And I've told you, the Australian Open, it's the worst slam, but I think it's the first slam, but I think it's the worst slam. These conditions are horrible. Players go to Australia in December, November to prepare for this tournament. It's so bad. The heat element, the humidity, the moisture, the balls, you get new balls. It's supposed to favor the server, not the defender. That's how horrible these conditions are. They're favoring the freaking defenders. You get new balls and you can't even serve. They're flying off the court. These conditions are horrible. And then you factor in, an easy schedule. It's just like cherry picking. But I told you guys, the numerology with Iga, she had good numerology. I said that. I can see what's going to happen here. She got really good numerology and an easy schedule. And like I said, the tour could benefit her winning this Australian Open. She's coming off of a scandal, a lot of things going on, a lot of things being said about the sport. There's a lot of money at stake here. She could benefit the tour. She could really help the sport by winning the Australian Open. And Coco's come to her defense. Coco said, no, I think she's clean. Sabalenka said she thinks she's clean, but she kind of quickly said, I believe in a clean sport, and that's it. That's all I have to say. Listen, guys, this is going to be a good matchup here now. These two ladies have played 5 times. Now, Iga's won 4 of the 5, 3 being on clay. That one time in Cincinnati that Madison Keys won, I told you to take her to win that match outright, ladies and gentlemen. Remember that? Huge underdog. Iga was like a 10 to freaking that was a 22 season where Iga Swiatek took the tour by storm. She was dominating. She's like a 10, 15 to 1 favorite. I don't know, some crazy. I said, look, take Madison Keys to win it outright. Those good, solid picks I used to give. But you guys, come on, man. Gotta support the picks, because right now this is just becoming a channel where people just want to hear Coco. Now, listen, I gave that pick in Cincinnati. I told you to take Madison Keys to win. On hard, I think Madison Keys, she does have a lot of things that go well with her when she's playing Iga on hard, and that's her power. She's got the ability to reset some of these rallies and back Iga Swiatek up. The only problem I don't like about this matchup with Iga is Iga's backhand. Iga can hit her backhand down the line, and Madison Keys has developed it, but you ask any of the experts, and I've said this, they'll tell you, Madison Keys, the only thing that's affected her game, aside a double fault here and there, is her backhand, her ability to hit her backhand down the line and reset these rallies, take pressure off of her forehand, because she overuses the forehand because of her struggles with the backhand down the line. So she overuses her forehand. I say it all the time, like a Diana Yastremska, a Georgie. These players, when you get Madison Keys to step up inside that baseline, whoa, that can be a error day. Error prone, tons of errors. When you get her to step up inside that baseline, she's going to make mistakes. But 49 winners last time out against Svitolina was really the difference maker to her 20, but 41 unforced errors. Now, a lot of that has to do with Svitolina just being a defensive powerhouse, getting balls back, making Madison Keys make shots. Iga Swiatek is not necessarily going to do that. She's not necessarily going to get balls back and force you to make shots, because Iga's going to step up around 4th, 5th shot, even less, 6th shot, and she's going to go for her winner. So Iga's going to play a lot more aggressive. So therefore, look, it could go both ways for Madison Keys. If Iga's playing more aggressive, that means that Madison Keys is going to have to step up, either back her up or go for her own winner. It's very simple. Madison Keys cannot put up 41 errors against Iga Swiatek. If she does, she'll probably have a double bagel. Now, Iga Swiatek, on the other hand, how did she look last time out? Well, she played a tough competitor, and I do want to talk about rankings as well, because that's going to be very important when we're talking about this match, because the ladies, they're playing for something, especially Iga Swiatek and Aryna Sabalenka. They're playing for possibly a change in ranking soon. Now, Iga Swiatek against Emma Navarro, 82% of her first serves won. If she does that against Madison Keys, she's going to win the match. Emma Navarro had only one opportunity to break her. If Iga gives Madison Keys only one opportunity to break, she's going to win the match. She had 9 opportunities to break Emma Navarro. She scored on 5 of them, so she was pretty solid in that department. 22 winners to 15, 20 unforced errors. I feel if Madison Keys can get Iga in that 20, 25 error count, then she could have a chance to steal a set. That's the thing when you're playing Iga Swiatek. First of all, if Iga wins the first set, she's going to win the match, right? Like a 90% win rate when she wins the first set. So Madison Keys has to play her best tennis in the first set. But with that said, when you're playing Iga, you have to position yourself to at least win a set. You have to take Iga into 3 sets. And Coco's straight set victory over Iga the last 2 times, very impressive. You can see the trend there. She's on an upward trend against Iga Swiatek. We wanted that matchup in this championship. We want to see Iga and Coco in a slam final again, like that French Open a few years ago. I think that would be freaking amazing. Bigger than the Super Bowl, in my opinion. Now, here's the thing, guys. Emma Navarro didn't put enough pressure on Swiatek because she doesn't have the power like a Madison Keys has. She just does not. Emma Navarro cannot back you up behind the baseline with firepower to where you're really uncomfortable in the rally. Emma Navarro is going to back you up, but she's setting up her shot within that rally where she can go down the line or away from you. Madison Keys has the type of power where she can hit through you. And she's going to have to do that in this match. But unfortunately, I think it's going to be a very steep battle for Madison Keys. I'm going to take the first set to go under 9.5 games. Does Madison Keys have a chance to win this match? Of course she does. And in fact, I like her on the alternate spread. So I like the first set to go under 9.5 games. But I also like Madison Keys as a huge underdog. I like Madison Keys to cover the 6.5 on the alternate spread. Those are the picks, guys. Enjoy. I'm your host, Good Energy. We'll be right back, and stay tuned. I'll keep you covered on the match.